Today we're making a banana cream pie or banana pudding pie. And I feel like whenever people go to make a pie, they go right for apple or blueberry or peach. Check out my recipe for peach pie. It's a really great recipe. And banana cream pie just gets forgotten. But today I'm going to show you why banana cream pie can be just as good as any other pie you could make. So we're going to start with some pie dough. It's my homemade pie crust recipe. I'll link right here. You can check it out after this video. It's such a foolproof pie crust recipe and it really tastes great too. So for this banana cream pie, we want to make our pie shell first. So let's roll this out. Get some flour down, a rolling pin. I let this sit out for a few minutes just to come to room temperature, make it a little easier to roll out. We'll just start in the center and quarter turns. Even pressure, so we reduce some cracking. And if you get some cracking, you just repair it. No big deal. Always make sure we're not sticking to the surface. We don't want to roll this out and then it's stuck to your work surface and then it just breaks. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now we'll just take our pie crust, roll it onto our rolling pin. And onto our pie dish. Pick up the edges here. Just make sure it's settled into the shape of your pie dish. This is a 9-inch pie dish. Now we'll just trim off any excess. You just want to crimp the edges. Now, there's not going to be a lattice top or a pie crust top on this. So if we were going to do that, we wouldn't do this. We would skip this step. But since there isn't going to be a top on this, make a little crimp design. We'll just take our thumb on one hand and our index finger and thumb on the other and just push. You could use a fork here and crimp the edges. Alright, put that in the freezer, half hour. Okay, our pie shell's rested in the freezer, half hour. Got my oven preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, 218 degrees Celsius. And we're just going to bake off this pie crust. Because our custard and everything is going to be set, so we need this to be fully cooked so we can just assemble our banana cream pie. So I'm just going to take this piece of parchment paper, put it on the bottom of our pie shell, and then in some tin foil, I have these ceramic pie weights. Put those right on top. You could use beans or rice. I like the ceramic pie weights because they're reusable. So we're going to put this in the oven, check on about 15 minutes. All right, our pie's been in the oven 15 minutes. We're starting to get some nice color on the edges. But we want to protect that edge. We don't want it to burn. So we want to finish cooking this pie shell so it's nice and golden brown but not burnt. So we'll remove our pie weights. Take out our parchment paper. Now we're just going to dot some holes on the bottom for steam to escape. And now I got a tablespoon of cream with 1 egg. You could use milk or water, but just don't skip this step. We want to give everything a nice brushing. And this is going to do two things. It's going to give us a beautiful color, and it's going to act as a barrier for our filling. So our custard won't make our crust soggy. Make sure we get every inch of our pie crust. One last step. We want to just cover the edge with some foil, just like so. This way everything will cook, it'll brown, and our edges won't burn. I also turned down my oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. And we'll finish cooking on that temperature. We'll check it every 10 minutes or so until this is nice and golden brown. All right, so our pie shell took another half hour in the oven. Probably could have did a little better job on the crimping, but everything's gonna be covered in the custard and the whipped cream, so it's not gonna matter, but still, this is gonna come out just fine. So we'll let this rest. So now we'll make our custard filling for our banana cream pie. I'm just gonna take 5 eggs and separate the yolks from the whites. I just do it in my hand. It's a lot easier. All right, do it for the rest. And the whites we'll save for a meringue or an egg white omelet. I got half a cup of sugar. We're going to divide this to our egg yolks. This helps prevent them from curdling. And the rest to our milk. I have 2 cups of milk here, whole milk. And to that we'll add a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. And I got 1 vanilla bean. I'm just going to split this and just scrape the seeds in. If you don't have a vanilla bean, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract will work. but always go with the vanilla bean if you have it. I like to order these online. And then we'll just take the pod and add that as well to extract as much flavor as we can. Put this on the stove top. We're just going to bring this to a simmer. We just want to scald it. We don't want this to boil. Okay, our milk mixture has just started to bubble. So at this point we could remove our vanilla pod. Turn the heat down a bit, and now we want to temper in our eggs. Break up our yolks. We just want to introduce some of the hot liquid to the egg mixture, constantly whisking. Just a little bit. Constantly moving your eggs. And now that we've introduced the heat to our eggs, we could add this mixture right into our milk. Again, constantly whisking. And this prevents you from getting scrambled eggs. You want to get a nice custard. We don't want an omelet. So by introducing the heat to our egg yolks, instead of just dumping them in, that's tempering our eggs. We could let them cook just a few minutes. Our egg yolks are going to cook and thicken this. Our cornstarch will thicken this. Got the nice flavor from the vanilla. And once this custard is done, I got another ingredient to add to this to really give us some nice flavor for this banana cream pie. Again, you want to constantly move this. Keep this constantly moving because it's going to thicken on the bottom of your pan. And you want to get all that moving. Otherwise, it's just going to cook on the bottom and you're just going to have a mess. You won't have a nice custard. Now at this point, significantly thickening up. You can feel it as it's whisked. You want to just take it off the heat and continue whisking and back on. This is going to come together very quickly. Okay, so that looks good. So we'll shut off our heat. That's nice and thickened up. Now we'll add 4 tablespoons of butter, 1 tablespoon at a time. So it's nice and incorporated. The butter is not the ingredient I was talking about. The ingredient is going to be 1 banana that we're going to mash and add to this custard. Make sure this banana cream pie has plenty of banana flavor. Last tablespoon of butter. Okay, so I got a bowl here. I'm going to put our custard in here. I have this banana. Now this wasn't ripe. I put this in my oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius, just for about 5 minutes. It's nice and ripe. So we're just going to add this banana right into our bowl here. Just mash that up. This is really going to flavor that custard. You want to avoid using like a banana extract. It's not real banana. This is going to give you a much better flavor. All right, so we got that. We'll bring back our custard and we'll add that to the banana. Then just incorporate everything together. The custard with that banana. And even if you don't like banana, this is going to make you like banana. So the last thing we want to do, we want to refrigerate this overnight. Let this fully set. We're going to take plastic wrap and cover it, but we want it to touch custard. And this is going to prevent the film from forming. Into the fridge overnight. If you really are pressed for time, you could chill it for just a couple of hours, put it in the freezer for an hour, and then in the refrigerator for another couple of hours, but you really want to let this chill overnight. All right, welcome to tomorrow. Our custard has cooled overnight. It's perfectly set. We got our pie crust ready to go. So now we're going to finish off this banana cream pie. I got 1.5 cups of heavy cream here. To that, I added 1/4 cup of confectioner's sugar plus 2 tablespoons. So we're just going to make a whipped cream now. I put this bowl with the cream in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes or so, because the colder it is, the easier it's going to whip up. So to this, we're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of vanilla and just whip this into whipped cream. It's easier to just whip it by hand than getting out the stand mixer and just having more things to clean. That's it. So now we could layer our pie. I'm just going to take a little bit of our custard, just going to line the bottom of our pie shell, just to cover the bottom. Now we got a couple of bananas. We want to add some nice fresh banana. Again, if you're going to serve this later on, just hit this with some lemon juice to keep it from oxidizing. We'll take out a second one because we're going to need more when we plate this. I'll show you what we did with that. And just cut it on a bit of a bias, not too thick, at a 1/2 inch. And then we're going to layer our fresh bananas right on top of our layer of custard. You can lay them any way you want. Doesn't really matter because we're going to cover this with the rest of our custard. And on top of those bananas, the rest of our custard. Plenty of banana flavor in this. Spread that out all the way to the edge. I really like putting that mashed banana in the custard. As that sits overnight, it just flavors this custard. Fresh vanilla bean. If you could use that fresh vanilla bean, Really suggest that. See those beautiful specks of the vanilla. So now we have our whipped cream, and you could just dollop this whipped cream right on top. No problem with that. But I'm going to take a piping bag, and I'm going to add this star tip attachment and pipe the whipped cream on. Get all this whipped cream. Just makes for, nicer presentation. Take a spatula, just get everything down. There's no air. And now we'll just pipe like so. Make them as even as we can. It's okay if there's some gaps. So we'll just cut a piece. Nice big piece here. We'll take our other banana. So they stand up a bit, little on the bias cut on the top. And we'll just give those a dip on the bias cut and some turbinado sugar. This is, of course, optional, but it finishes this pie nicely. Put them on our plate, and then just brulee them. I have this handheld torch. You could just take these, you could do a bunch of these for the whole pie, put them in your oven on high broil until they color. And this just finishes off this pie nicely. You just give them a light torch, crisp up that sugar and the texture from that crisped sugar. Just let this cool a couple of minutes before serving. And that right there is my banana cream pie. It looks very nice right there. I love those bruleed bananas, just a nice touch. Maybe pipe the whipped cream after cutting your slice so the whipped cream stays nice, or after you brulee the bananas, but this is just fine. Love those bruleed bananas. Give this recipe a try, and it'll make you a believer in banana cream pie. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.